Scientists in China are trying to determine if a new virus strain is responsible for a pneumonia outbreak in the city of Wuhan. At least 59 people are believed to have been sickened by the new virus. The World Health Organization says it may belong to the same family of viruses that caused the deadly SARS outbreak in the early 2000s. The Wall Street Journal reports that the CDC are asking healthcare providers in the U.S. to ask about any recent travel to Wuhan in patients with severe.
Growing concerns about the deadly coronavirus officially hitting the U.S.
The first case of the deadly Chinese coronavirus making its way to the U.S. A Washington state man testing positive for the deadly virus.
We're suspending the entry of foreign nationals who have been to Europe in the last 14 days.
Workers outside of the local hospital in
Tonight, with COVID-19 cases on the rise, the CDC now shifting guidelines, calling on everyone to consider covering.
Back with breaking news from the Labor Department. The federal government says another 3.2 million Americans filed unemployment claims last week.
When the NBA suspended their season because of the coronavirus, the dominoes started falling. And eventually every collegiate conference canceled their basketball.
And of course, it's not just sports programs closing, but schools as well. Here in New York City, 2 more public schools joined the more than 1,500 K-12 schools across the country that have or plan to shut down.
This morning, new concerns about America's food supply. Fast food chain Wendy's becoming the latest company to feel the effects of a pandemic-triggered meat shortage.
Tokyo 2020 organizers and the International Olympic Committee bowing to global pressure.
The pandemic is just now ramping up in some places, with the largest spike in new cases now in Nebraska and Minnesota.
As the coronavirus continues to spread globally, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention announcing Thursday the first human-to-human coronavirus transmission in the U.S. between 2 patients in Illinois.
To unleash the full power of the federal government in this effort today, I am officially declaring a national emergency. But it is only the beginning.
The coronavirus pandemic of 2020 did more to the people than meets the eye. The lack of resources, mandatory stay-at-home orders, self-isolation, and overall constant sense of fear has diminished the mental health in many Americans. Suicide rates have risen significantly since the corona outbreak, and many are reporting depressive episodes because they are unable to continue with their normal life routines. The pandemic has become something so much more than an infectious disease. It has become a nationwide depression. News sources and social media tried to combat this by promoting exercise, crafting, cleaning, basically anything to get these people out of their negative headspace. But these are mere distractions from the impeding depressive thoughts, and once the day is done, the agony will surely return. So it becomes a question of how to reshape the mind. How do we take something so hopeless, so negative, and make it so that we may continue living? I believe the answer lies in the work of the ancient Eastern philosophers, in particular, philosopher Lao Tzu. Now, the origins of Lao Tzu are a bit cloudy. Some even argue that he was a mythical creature, much like Homer, and never actually existed. Regardless of his origin story, the work that proceeds from him is entirely remarkable. Lao Tzu contributed to the Chinese sacred text Tao Te Ching, a compilation of various works that include ideas of universal wisdom, harmony, balance, and life. Lao Tzu and his part in the Tao Te Ching is still considered to be the leading figure in the spiritual practice of Daoism. The Tao, or way, is a concept that describes life and harmony. It is essentially a path to a better living. In order to possess this, Lao Tzu believes in key pillars. The first is stillness. We must experience the world as it is. A famous quote that derives from this idea is, "Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished." He promotes a sense of here-ness and banishes anxieties. His second pillar is openness. Lao Tzu says we should be awake to everything around and we should not expect anything. The third is discovering. We need to take time to be who we are, an organic, non-conforming individual. His last pillar is accepting. Lao Tzu believes we should accept everything that comes our way, rather than only taking in what supports us in that moment. His philosophy is simplistic yet profound. He recommends a way of bettering oneself using only resources around us. Lao Tzu would not believe in distractions. He would not suggest mindless activities to temporarily remove oneself from the situation at hand, but rather promote something that makes one connect with the world around them. It is a matter of taking this newfound society as it is and opening up to it, regardless of its negative composure. We cannot expect anything from the future. We cannot anticipate for something we have not yet come to terms with. I believe this is the way to combat our new current societal depression. Though Lao Tzu makes sense in theory, the actual practice of the Tao is far more complex. Lao Tzu believed in meditation to connect one with your deeper self. He believed when you know who you really are, you may then discover eternal peace. While he himself enjoyed meditation, he does not exclude other forms of practice. Another quote from Lao Tzu states, "To realize the constancy and steadiness in your life is to realize nature of the universe." This realization is not dependent on the transitory internal or external condition. Rather, it is an expression of one's own immutable spiritual nature. The only way to attain the universal way is to maintain the integral virtues of the constancy, steadiness, and simplicity in one's daily life. It need not matter the practice, as long as it resembles strength and consistency and is held close to the individual's heart. Our current way of life is extremely disheartening. It is new, unprecedented, depressing, and seemingly hopeless. Though allowing oneself to sink into the negativity will not be of any benefit, this trying time is putting our faith to the test. We must not succumb to mindless distractions that numb the spirit for hours at a time. We must look deeper in ourselves in order to become open to this new way of life, to accept it for its harsh realities and to rejoice it once it is overcome. This period in our lives is not about scraping by. It is about reframing the mind to learn to live again.
The biggest good news of the week has come out of China, where they reported no new domestic cases of coronavirus.
76 days later, Wuhan, China has had its lockdown lifted.